What am I doing today? What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today is going to be a fun build day. Actually, this is going to be a build series because we have a huge project going on here for Lionheart, and I'll show you guys the back of what she looks like. I'm not going to show you guys the front. You can see I got my back rear wing spoiler on. Got the splitter on, got my diffuser and a couple of winglets on there too, because I actually have my body kit on there. It looks pretty fire. Those of you who follow my Instagram channel, you guys already know what it looks like. So it looks pretty sick. It doesn't even look like the original car anymore. So, but for this one, we're gonna pop the trunk and I'm gonna show you guys what I'm doing. All right, so I gotta do a little bit of cleaning up here. If you guys noticed, I actually had my windshield, my back windshield replaced because I cracked it. Being a dumbass, I tried to handle this myself. Ended up losing a tool in my trunk when I was trying to re-secure my wing, and I unbolted it from the frames and I dropped it. Point of it right here, shattered the glass, boom, donezo. So thankfully to the guys over at the Brothers Auto Group, I'll put the link down in the description below. They took care of it for me same day. Really happy for those guys. So once again, big shout out to the brothers there. Appreciate your help. Came out same day, got the glass and fixed it and reinstalled it at the same time. So those guys, you know, nice job. But today we're going to do the trunk setup. Got a couple of subs here and an amp, and we're going to be installing in the subs, one right here and one right there. Now this already came in its own sub box, but I'm not going to use that sub box because I already have my air suspension lined up in here. I got to clean up all of these glass shards, but I'm going to remove the two subs from the box, and then I'm going to use MDF board over here, rebuild two separate boxes, and each of them gonna sit right here and right there. Now if I do this correctly, the subs shouldn't get in the way of the air compressors. If need be, if I absolutely have to, I may need to relocate or reposition the two air compressors. Hopefully I won't have to do that. And then I'm going to do a cutout right here. I may need to relocate this guy right here, just put up underneath. Then I'm going to do a cutout right here, put a piece of plexiglass over it or acrylic, because the amp that came with the Rockville subs are going to sit underneath the amp, and I'm going to have it glowing with some afterglow lights. So that's going to look pretty fire. And then underneath here is going to be all the workings of it. See, I've got the battery, got all the tubing and everything for the air suspension. Got an Optima yellow top battery. So what I'm going to do is run this as a secondary battery. I'm going to connect this to my primary red top that's in front underneath the engine hood, and that will provide additional power, because when the car is off, I'm going to have some ground effect lights and pulsing lights and everything going on here with the speakers, and I don't want to connect it to my main battery because it's just going to drain my main battery. So I'm going to connect everything to here. We're going to set up the secondary battery, and to save the first battery, an extra step I'm going to do is install this battery isolator right here. So this is what's going to provide the connection to the main battery, to the second battery, and when the car is off, this will separate that connection so that all my electronics that are connected to my second battery, they're just going to run off that yellow top and not drain my first red top battery, so my car doesn't die. Also got some ground effect lights here, got some daytime running lights, got some underglows right here, and I've got some more lights somewhere. Got everything, all this, just a damn mess all over the place here. Got like interior lights. Also got a 2.5 farad amp, so I'm gonna hook this up to my subs too, and probably hook this up to my lights, namely the LED lights, because LEDs actually don't take a lot of energy. So I'm going to use that to supplement the second battery that's in the car. So we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of planning, a lot of cutting, a lot of gluing, a lot of screwing, and we're going to clean up all of this area because I need to figure out the best way to secure this yellow top battery to the engine, so when I'm driving this isn't sliding around all over the place. I also need to find an area to secure the capacitor and the battery relay. So all of that's going up underneath here, and I have to make it secure so that when I close this, everything will just sit flush like this. And all you see is the amp underneath the glass, the 2 subs, and my air suspension. I also bought some of these pulsating equalizer strips. So these are LED strips, so when the lights are on, when this is plugged in and my music's going, these are going to be pulsing. So that's going to look pretty cool too. Got 2 of these, so I'm going to do a nice design in the back behind my air suspension, behind the tank there. So when I pop up the shows and pop open the trunk, it's going to be a nice little light show up in there. So I'm really excited for that. So anyway, I don't know what the first step I'm going to be doing. I guess trying to measure out what I'm going to be doing with the battery. So we got to secure that information. We got to secure that first, and then get the battery hooked up to the main battery. So I got to run some power lines. Got some 4-gauge wire over here somewhere, because 4-gauge is what I'm going to need to actually connect those 2 batteries. But anyway, like I said, guys, this is going to be a multi-build series. This is probably going to be just as big as my air suspension. You guys stay tuned for that. My boy Gary's supposed to come over and help me out with some more of this wrap. You guys haven't seen yet, check out the video. We also installed a horn, a customized horn, big bubba blasters from boomblasters.com. So we got a customized horn for my car too, like I did his. If you guys haven't seen that video, check his out. I'll leave that link down in the description below too, because you can see what we did to install that customized horn. He's got some like GTA music playing and stuff, so it's kind of cool. It's actually one of the funniest videos I did. That guy's a crack up, so big shout out to Garrett over at Redemption Wraps. But anyway, enough about that. Let's get over here and start planning this thing. We'll see what we need to do to set up the secondary battery, and we'll move on from there. Alright, so if you take a look here, you can see I created a battery box for my Optimal battery to kind of secure it up in here. And it's just MDF board. I just nailed it together, glued in some foam to surround it to provide a little bit of cushion and I don't know, heat resistant or whatever. This isn't going anywhere. It's actually fixed to the bottom of the tire well in here, and what I'm going to do now is work on a grounding point for the negative side, which I'm going to connect the line right here and then run it and then fix it right to this area right here. Now this is the actual body of the car, so this would be okay for a good grounding point, and I'll just screw a new grounding area right there. Like I was saying before in the past videos, as long as you have good metal to metal contact, that'll serve as like a good grounding point. I couldn't really find like an existing screw anywhere, so I'm just going to create a new one right here attached to the battery, and that would be my ground. Now for the positive, I'm going to run a cord, and I decided to not cheap out, and I went ahead and just bought myself some more of the battery cable. This right here is, I believe this is 2-gauge, 4-gauge. I believe this is 4-gauge. So anyway, went ahead and bought myself some more of this battery cable. Decided to get red because red represents power, black is going to represent the ground. So, and I didn't want to confuse myself with the black wire running through the car thinking that's the ground, so you know, in the future. So decided to get myself some red, and I'm going to run this to the front of the battery that's underneath the hood of the car, and then snake it through. And I'm not going to attach this to the battery. I'm going to attach this to the battery isolator, which I'm going to fix over in this area right here. And if in the battery isolator, then it's going to fix to the positive end of the battery. Let's prep the ground point right here. Put in the ground screw for this guy right here. Won't need to attach it yet until I'm ready to power on everything. And then I'm going to see if I have enough time today to run this cord to the front of the car, and that way I'll work on the positive end for the connection that way. And then the next thing we'll need to do is what is that right there? Am I gonna need that? I think I'm gonna need that. Where'd this come from? Ew, I'm gonna need that. That's very important. What was that just sitting right there? Screw that back in. I just happen to find. See, that's the thing with these little parts here. Just happen to see this thing sitting down on the ground, and one day, I don't need it right now, but one day I will. Gonna find out that thing's been missing this whole time. Yeah, weird. But in any case, let's see if we can finish up connecting these batteries right here, then we'll work on the battery isolator next. Yep, And here come the landscapers. It never fails. Thanks, landscaping. I'm only trying to shoot a video here. Now if we take a look here, all I did was screw the grounding point to the side of the wheel well right here. And I make sure I scuffed off all of the paint so it's true metal to metal contact. And this actually goes underneath here. You can see, I think I can show it right here. So hopefully you guys are able to see that nut under there. I really don't feel like getting down up underneath this car. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder the end of this because I don't want these metal strands to fray when I insert them into the negative terminal right here. So I'm going to solder this so that it's just all one big piece inserted to here, and then the battery will be grounded. Then we can move on to the isolator. But first I think I'm going to run this red cord all the way to the front of the car first and get that connection set up before I connect everything over to the isolator. And there we go. Nice and soldered. Now it's not the prettiest job, but it'll keep these lines from fraying. There. Now the battery is grounded. And we can see right here, that's a good solid connection. So that's not going anywhere. So now let's run the positive line to the positive battery in front of the car, underneath the hood, and snake it all throughout the car, get it reached all the way back here and get ready for the next step. Cool, so now we can see I went and ran the red power line all up underneath the car. It goes all the way up behind the trunk. And if you see, kind of snakes all the way underneath the seats, all through there. And then extends out to the front of the car through the little firewall right there, through the rubber grommet. So now here's the cord that runs all the way back to the trunk. So now I'm going to connect a fitting on here, so to sit on the positive end, and then the other end on the end of the trunk will go towards the battery isolator. So now I went and snaked this through, and I forgot to actually connect a a connector on this. So I don't know how I'm going to get my hammer crimp up here to fasten this, but let me figure out something. Okay, so now I got the fitting on here, and I'm not going to tell you guys actually how I did it because you guys probably clown me, but just so you know that this end is now fastened to the wire, and now I'm going to hook it up to the positive end right here.
That's a nice car.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I don't know who that guy was, but drove by and said he liked my car. Cool. The wife hates it when people like my car. So get this on here. I have way too many connections on here. Eventually I'm going to have to get a new terminal because yeah, I don't want this to be a hazard. Alright, so now that's snug on there. And now when we're ready, we're going to take the negative end and put it to the positive when we're ready to power on everything. But we're not going to do that right now. Now we're done with the front end of the car. Now we're just going to go back to the trunk and hook up the battery isolator.